Hello students, political parties, very essential for the working of a democracy. We discussed about political parties, that they are the most visible institutions of a democracy, and we were on the topic that why political parties are so necessary, because today they are a necessary condition for a democracy. So we were discussing about the functions of a political party. We discussed the first function yesterday, that was that the parties contest election, and for the election the candidates have been put up by the parties for different constituencies in each and every state, and like this the political parties work. The second function we discussed, that the political parties they issue their manifesto, that is their policies and programs. Each political party has some policies and programs which they promise people that if they vote for them, they will implement these policies in the country or in the state if there are regional parties. So this is called manifesto, your 1 mark question in board examination. So political parties have to declare their manifesto, they have to declare their policies and programs, so that the voters, they can keep the manifestos of different political parties before them, and they can select among the given choices that which party is suitable for their demands and which party they have to vote this time. So this is the second function of a political party. The third function of a political party is that the political parties formulate laws. Laws are generally formulated in the parliament. And who is sitting in the parliament? The members of the political party, our representatives. So formally, laws are debated and they are formulated by the political parties indirectly. They are sitting in the parliament, they are sitting in Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, and they discuss about what is good for the people, and they formulate laws, they formulate policies on different subjects. This is the third function of a political party. The fourth function of a political party is that they form and run the government. Political parties form the government and they also run the government. What does it mean? It means that every political party participate in the election with a view to win the election and form the government. But just forming the government at the center or in the state doesn't mean that the responsibility is over. After forming the government, there is one more responsibility, that is to run the government at least for 5 years. Because in your class 9th you have read that if the party is not able to run the government smoothly for a term of 5 years, there are midterm election, and that is an extra burden on the country, and that will not be good for the country as well as for the party. So parties have to form the government and they also have to run the government at least for 5 years. So this is a big responsibility, a big function of a political party. The next function of a political party is to play the role of opposition. This topic also comes in your board examination separately in 3 marks. What is the role of opposition in a democracy? What is the role of opposition party in a democracy? Actually, opposition play a very important role in a democracy. Opposition parties are very important when there are elections. Party win election, will form the government. The party which loses election doesn't mean that their political career is over. They have a very important role to play, that is to play the role of opposition. And the opposition, how do they play their role? They appreciate the good policies of the government and they oppose the wrong policies of the government, and they do not allow the government to work against the wishes, against the welfare of the people. They also force the government to do something for the people, whatever is the people's demand. Opposition do not allow the government to work smoothly until they look into the demands of the people. So remember, if opposition is not there, democracy will not remain a democracy. democracy can exist only when there is opposition. Otherwise, it will turn into dictatorship, correct? Or absolute monarchy, it will be converted. So democracy remains a democracy when there is opposition, when there are people sitting in the parliament, in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, or in the state assemblies, and there are leaders who are there to oppose that, yes, you have done wrong. Or suppose there is price rise, they are there to blame the government for all the wrong things and also appreciate the government for good deeds. So opposition plays a very important role. This is another function, the fourth function of the political party. Then the next is political parties shape public opinion. And the opinion of the public, they get crystallized on the line the party takes it up. Because there are so many voices in the society. And in a democracy, all the voices have to be heard. That is why it is a democracy of the people, for the people, and by the people. So, political parties are very visible. The members of the political parties are scattered everywhere, in every corner of the society, everywhere in the country. So, these members know better what are people's demand, what is the reaction of the people towards government policies, and so on. So the members of the active members of the political parties, they know better what is public opinion, because they are among the people. They are with them always. Most of the time they are with the people, and they know better what they want. Also, the members of the political party, they provide access to the people to the welfare schemes that are introduced by the government time to time. Time to time, government issues welfare schemes for different sections of the society. So these are the members of the political party who are scattered everywhere in the society. They bring these welfare schemes passed by the government to the people. So they shape public opinion. They know what is the opinion of the public. Correct? And the last, but not the least, function of a political party is that they provide access to the people to the government machinery. Access to the people to the government machinery means we cannot go to the parliament, we cannot go to the state capital, we cannot go to the state government for our demands or for our grievances, whatever we want. It is not possible for an ordinary person like we, ordinary people, to approach to a higher leader, to approach to a leader who is at the central level or state level. No, not possible. So what the political parties do, they provide access to the people to the government machinery, means they fill the gap between the government machinery and between the people. They fill this gap and they provide us access to it. And whatever is in our mind, they take it to the center, they take it to the state level, wherever the particular subject or the particular issue is concerned, and they provide us access to the government machinery. They act as a bridge between the government and the society, between the government and the people. So this is also another, last but not the least, a very important function of a political party. So our topic was, why do we need a political party? We have discussed the functions of the political party. So you are doing 2 topics at a time. If you are asked functions in 5 marks in board examination, simply write down the function with headings, with examples. And if you are asked why do we need a political party, then give functions in short. And now we discuss why do we still need to think why do we really need a political party? Again, we have to think over, although they perform these functions and they tell us that political parties are so necessary for us, but even then we have to think that why still we need a political party. Actually, we need a political party because political parties are very necessary for today's democracies that are representative democracies. 1 mark question. What are representative democracies? They are indirect democracies. The actual form of democracy was given by Abraham Lincoln of the people, for the people, by the people. Small countries with small population, it was possible for all the adults to sit at a place and discuss the policies and formulate the policies. But today's countries, they have become larger in territory, they have become bigger in population, larger in population, so direct democracy is not possible. So today we have indirect democracies, or you can call it representative democracies. So instead, we adults are sitting and formulating policies, which is not possible. Indirectly, political parties and its representatives, they formulate policies for us, and indirectly we are there. Indirectly, in the form of the representatives, we are there, means their voice is our voice. So political parties are very necessary, because if there are no political parties, there will be no elections, there will be no public opinion formed, there will be no opposition. If the elections are held, even without the political parties, if the elections are conducted, nobody will be responsible to anyone. And even if the elections are conducted, the person who has been elected by particular community or by particular locality, that person will be responsible only for that locality, not for the whole community or the whole country. In some panchayats, elections are conducted without political parties. Actually, it was an experiment. It was an experiment done on the issue that whether we really need political parties. So in some of the panchayats, elections were conducted without the interference of the political parties. And it was observed that although political parties were not formally involved in the election, but for electing the different representatives in the villages got split into factions. The village got split into faction, and each faction had its representative. So this is what the political parties do. The same. When the political parties are there are election, constituencies are divided, and each constituency have representatives to be elected. So it was concluded that political parties are necessary condition for a democracy, particularly the representative democracies. And political parties, because they perform all these functions, so they are necessary part of a representative, or you can call it modern democracies. You write this line also, which we discussed yesterday. There was a time hardly countries had political parties. Today, hardly there is a country where there are no political parties. Write this line very clearly. This will fetch you marks in boards. So this is our first major topic that is completed today. We quickly switch over to next topic, that is how many political parties a country should have. How many political parties a country should have? The answer to this question is that it is not a very good question. Yes, because we cannot decide party system for a country. This is a 5 marks topic for your board examination, that how many political parties a country should have. Actually, party system or parties, they evolve. For example, when India became independent, there were few political parties. Today, there are more than 750 political parties. Today, India is having many national level political parties and so many parties which are of regional level. So, party system, no country can decide for itself, because parties evolve. Now we will answer the question, because our responsibility doesn't end that when we say that it is not a very good question. Our responsibility starts that we have to give answer that it is not a good question to ask. So different countries have different party systems. For example, there is a single party system. Some countries have single party. Single party system. A very good example is China. In China, there is Communist Party. Although people of China are allowed to form political parties, but the electoral system of China allow only single party to contest election. After every 5 years, the candidates are shifted and the elections are conducted. But with single party, with the Communist Party, other parties exist, but the electoral system does not allow them to contest the elections. Correct? So single party system is not good because it is not a democratic system, because people have no choice before them. If they really want a different system, if they really want another party system, they cannot, because it is in their roots, because single party system is going on very well in China. Although it is not good, but in China it is going on very well. And the people of China are very happy with the single party system. So single party system exists in some countries, for example China, and although there are so many political parties formed by the people, but they are not allowed to contest elections. Correct? Then comes the bi-party system or the dual party system. In some countries like Britain and France, there is dual party system. One party wins election and the other party forms the opposition. Dual party system is considered to be a very good system of party, and this is not messy also, and it is very smooth to work, dual party system. But for a country like India, dual party system will not be good, because India is a very big country with diversities, so many communities, so many types of cultures. So two party system cannot be suitable for India. So for India, we have a multi-party system. In the beginning, there were few parties. Gradually, there are more than 750 political parties in India. So there was rise of political parties. Although multi-party system is very complex, it is very messy. Sometimes more than one party win the elections, and the proper votes are not had, which are required at the center or in the state election, which are required. The number of votes they are not had. So coalition governments are formed. So many people feel that multi-party system is not good, but for India it is very good. In India, multi-party system is going on very well. We all are very satisfied with the system. So what do you think? No party system is ideal for every country in every situation. So party system cannot be decided for a country. Parties are conditioned to the historical background, to the cultural background, and other situations that are prevailing in the country. Tomorrow we will dwell upon this topic again in a summarized way, and then we will proceed the chapter further, and we will meet again with a new energy and with new enthusiasm. Till then, it is a goodbye.